Well, hey there, everybody. It is your instructor, Tim, for Lead One, bringing you the second podcast of the quarter. And these revolve around crafting the best possible leadership philosophy paper that you can craft. Now, the first podcast was focused on helping you articulate your thoughts on what leadership is and what it does. Today's podcast is going to be designed to help you articulate those concepts and/or underlying practices that inform your leadership. Now, just as I did for the last paper, I've included some guiding questions to help you develop your paper. So the first one is, what aspects of your identity are most salient for you in your leadership, and why? Kouzes and Posner articulate three frames through which leadership can be viewed and/or practices. Keeping your own personal context in mind, which frame or frames best articulate the way in which you prefer to practice leadership? And again, why? Finally, what are the pros and cons of your preferred leadership frame or frames? Now, as was the case last time, you should be primarily relying upon course readings to date for this paper. Now, the readings on collective leadership demonstrate that leadership is not a solitary pursuit. In other words, great gains can be made when people lead in community in solidarity with each other. When we're in solidarity, we can expect the best from one another because we have deep, trusting relationships, we have high shared standards, and we can be our authentic selves because we're able to share our stories with each other. Now, the human resource leadership frame tells us that people are an organization's most important resource. In order to keep people motivated, it's important for any organization to recognize, reward, and celebrate achievement. While this is important, it should also be noted that this frame works best when organizational members buy into this style of leadership. When our colleagues don't buy in, this leadership frame definitely has its limits. Now, like it or not, politics are an inherent element of any organization. Now, keep in mind that politics aren't necessarily bad all the time. It really depends on how we use politics to advance organizational work. Are we using politics to advance our own narrow interest, or are we trying to create a situation where everyone's going to benefit? If you agree with the notion that the definition of leadership is influencing others through relationship, how are we influencing others, and what is the nature of our relationship? Now, as I said earlier in the course, when we delve into our leadership identities, we might find that the context of a situation dictates which style or frame that we'll use. And because context often shifts, we shouldn't be surprised if the style that we rely upon also shifts. By now, you should understand that the little things really do count on these assignments. Misspelled words, poor communication, and choppy sentences are surefire ways to lose points. So you'll want to go beyond using the spell check function when you edit your papers. You've heard me say it before, and I will say it here. I really do encourage you to edit each other's papers before you turn them in. I know that the peer editing process can be stressful, but I also know that it can really help you develop your writing skills. Well, that's all I have for now. Remember that your papers are due on Wednesday, February 24th by 11 p.m. Happy writing.